athletic non-supporter, lightning.
You call that a dive? Watch this.
What's up guys, Flux here, and man, it's been a while since I talked Total Drama with you guys. It's been even longer since my first, also most popular, Total Drama video dropped, where I absolutely massacred Total Drama All-Stars. It's been a long 4 years. Now, while I do love this video and appreciate you guys for all your support on it, I've been wanting to remaster it for some time now. As an editor, I think I've grown a hell of a lot, and I also wanted to give the series a more balanced review, since a lot of you guys have been complaining about how much you didn't mind this season. Initially, I wanted to remaster this video in its entirety, but that wouldn't have been very transformative. Plus, I wanted to review the season as its own entity without taking any external factors like marketing or character choice in mind. So today, we're going to review Total Drama All-Stars with a more positive mindset. Very demure, very smart indeed. Each episode will get a score out of 10 along with the positive and negative aspects of each episode. I'll try not to repeat talking points from my initial review too much. I'll also be responding to a lot of you guys' comments in this video as well. Social media on screen if you want to subscribe, and Ko-fi donations if you're feeling generous, yada yada yada. We've been down this road before. Thank you guys for all your support while I've been absent. It actually means a lot, and it's when you comment, it makes me want to make more videos, so thank you. With all that out of the way, let's dive back in and sink our teeth into Total Drama All-Stars again. The first episode in, and it's not too bad. The cold open with Chris being in prison feels straight out of an Abridged series, right down to the prisoner making a kissy face at the camera, but otherwise it's pretty smooth sailing. I'll get the worst parts of this episode out the way first, the Gwunkin drama. I've already gone on record twice about how much I hate this love triangle in both World Tour and All-Stars, but man does it get played out fast. The timeline of events for the two relationships in question is pretty shaky, so it makes it hard for me to vouch for Gwen when I really don't know if she stole Duncan from Courtney.
He wasn't her boyfriend at the time!
Regardless, all three characters are so dry in this episode. Gwen's sad about being on the villain's team, which is understandable I guess, but Duncan's embarrassingly not macho here, literally saying let's kiss for luck like he's Link from the CDI games.
How about a kiss for luck?
How about a kiss for luck?
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
And Courtney's just playing it up for the cameras. Like when she says she's allergic to the flowers Gwen brings, she looks like she's faking it so bad. Secondly, heroes versus villains, not as good of an idea as it might have seemed on paper. I think the season would have been a nice addition after Pocketteo, as much as I do hate that season. Not only would it have given them more characters to work with, giving the All-Star season title a bit more weight, it would have given the writers more challenges to work with. Spoiler alert, the creative challenge died out hella fast in this season. On a better note, speaking of challenges, we get a pretty good one to start the season off. It's a combination of the show's first ever challenge, diving into shark-infested waters, combined with the baby carriage race from World Tour. It's simple but fun. The rest of episode 1 was a fun romp as well. I loved how Jo already tries to establish herself with the other villains, especially Lightning. Their rivalry was one of the best parts of Revenge of the Island. It's one of the best instances of character blending in the season as well, seeing Jo immediately sizing up her competition and help her lead her team to victory. Watching Alejandro fly out of that robot will forever be hilarious to me, especially seeing everyone's different reactions to him.
To say it, I hope I don't sound ridiculous. I don't know who this man is.
Ignoring the fact that they kind of spoiled it in the intro. But I mean, if you're a diehard fan, you probably already knew that from the clips, so I guess I won't give it too many negative points. Lindsay treads the line here between being really funny and borderline mental with her dumbness. But in the end, I do find myself wishing that she could have done more besides being easy toilet fodder. Considering how much I enjoyed her in action, I wouldn't have minded seeing her run another season. But judging how dumb she was in this episode...
Fine. Just push. Okay. How do you push again? Jalapeno? When did you get here? I'm flying!
Yeah, maybe it was her time to go. It feels like a fever dream watching this again because I almost forgot that she was even in this season. Oh yeah, and extra props to Heroes vs. Villains for being the only episode this season without the appearance of that one guy that we're not going to talk about yet. Overall, a pretty decent start to All-Stars, 7 out of 10. The second episode keeps up the momentum with another simple yet engaging challenge. It's a nod to another World Tour challenge, this one being the one from Paris. The twist being that instead of being scattered across a museum, the puzzle pieces they're looking for are buried in the sand along the beach, which is a location that hasn't been used a lot for Total Drama. There's a lot of good physical gags in this episode with the booby traps and the moats in the sand. It's a very fun challenge. Evil Dread surprisingly has a lot of small but lovable moments sprinkled in between the plot. The pre-challenge talks were something I didn't know I'd value as I'd rewatch this season, but there's something just so charming about watching the non-challenge parts of the episode. I like just watching the characters bounce off of each other, hearing Scott try to take back his bag into throwing challenges from Revenge of the Island. I love seeing Sierra talk about updating her blogs while there's a whole picture of Cody in the shower. And the Alla Heather argument was golden, as most of their interactions are on the show. Scott's pretty villainous here too. That move that he pulled on Mike/Manitoba was hella underhanded even for him, but watching him get ratted out immediately was so satisfying. Even though that would be the canon event that brought us... Anyway, this episode's unusually funny though. Like, the comedic timing is actually top tier.
I know he's evil, but oof, those eyes.
Lightning for the past 2 episodes has been comedy gold especially, which, again, is disappointing in hindsight considering how fast they booted him. Kinda shocked to see how one of the former finalists was booted so early in All-Stars, a season where they didn't even bring back 2 of the winners. But I gotta give it to Joe, who set up Lightning in the first episode by making him think she'd ignore him until the merge, then double-crossing him the first chance she got. Though again, with how stupid Lightning was in this episode...
Does he ever shut up?
Hey, it's not my fault you put it together wrong.
We didn't put it together wrong. There were only 6 pieces.
Ain't nobody telling Lightning where to dig. I'm my own man.
Good riddance indeed. This episode isn't all good though. I didn't understand why Gwen was blanking Duncan this whole episode. In Heroes vs Villains, when Duncan was trying to be romantic, she shoves him away. And in this episode, she's blanking him completely, even when he's trying to be supportive.
Way to go, Gwen.
I just don't get her motivations here. The Gwenkin plot has not progressed past the kiss that they had in the UK. Can we get some story here, please? Last we checked, they were in Jamaica or something, smooching up a storm. Sam's edition is pretty lacking too. I'm not sure why they picked him over Owen if he was just gonna get beat up this whole episode. He gets drained by a mosquito, thrown into the sand mode and pinched by crabs. CNBT, if you know you know, booted into a random boat, stung by jellyfish, pisses himself on national TV, and all this just for him to be the Boney Island sacrifice in the end. He's nothing but a burden to his team and it's not really funny. It's just kinda sad seeing him get destroyed over and over. Courtney's minor appearance in this episode was a bit annoying too. Kinda weird Courtney's being so annoying when everybody's trying to make a plan when she's usually the plan maker. And lastly,
one by one, they will all fall.
Man, what the fuck is you talking about?
What the fuck was that?
I'm sorry.
Ultimately, I wanted to rank this episode above the first because I do enjoy it and I think it's funnier, but seeing Mal's introduction here makes me so mad that I had to dock a few points. That combined with Gwen's odd behavior brings this one down to a 7.5. Still better than the previous episode, but just not by a landslide. After arguably the best episode in the season, we follow up with Saving Private Leachball. Got an interesting challenge that puts a twist on the war movie challenge from action, but I like to also think it's a callback to Paintball Deer Hunter from season 1. Plus, the leeches give this episode a memorability factor, and the closest we'll ever get to see the characters holding a gun. The highlight of this episode is obviously the villains team. Half of them try their damnness to suck up to Gwen in order to gain her and Duncan's trust, which leads to a lot of funny scenes. Speaking of the power couple, we finally get a moment where the two chat about their relationship, and it's pretty disappointing.
Just pretend Mike is Courtney and you'll clobber him in no time.
Wait, do you think I've been attacking Courtney on purpose too?
Pretty much, yeah.
You really think I could be that vengeful? You don't know me at all.
This long for Gwen and Duncan to have a talk about their relationship, and it's Gwen saying he doesn't know her at all. Charming. The only thing Duncan said to Gwen all season is him trying to get Courtney's attention, like it's so desperate. At least we got this banger of a line at the end.
At least now you have to stop blanking me and admit I exist.
Yeah, you exist. So what?
Getting pretty tired of Sierra at this point too. Like, she wasn't all crazy as she was. Like, if the only joke the writers could tell are Cody related, they shouldn't have brought her back. It's getting hella repetitive. It's getting to the point where the writers are trying to make Cameron the new Cody, even though, how is she confusing Cameron with Cody if... let's not make it about race. Let's move on.
We think all races are good, man.
We don't judge.
The sad part is their little friendship could have been sweet, but they had to Flanderize it and take it off the deep end with the plot thread reused from World Tour. There's another pretty obvious elimination here. 3 episodes back to back with zero tension. This one hurts because Jo was a fun enough character. It sucks she's gone because she was the main one being ambitious from this season and the last. This is also the beginning of Mal going around and breaking random-ish. What's the reason? There is none. Listing the issues this episode has honestly makes me question my score, but I don't know, there was an entertaining challenge with enough funny jokes for this to float by with just a 6. It has a lot of nice moments, but a lot of recurring bad habits start around this point in the season. By this point in the season, I was already a bit checked out. 3 of my favorites out back to back and a steady decrease in characterization. Food Fright continues our decline into mediocrity with a pretty uninspired challenge. It's basically just an eating challenge with some of the parts from Truth or Laser Shark. This one pisses me off because thus far, Sam has been pretty useless this season, but the one challenge that he locks in for is the eating challenge. So why didn't they just bring Owen back? And screw that noise about, oh, he's easier to write than Owen, because he's literally just a fill-in. I can't believe they gave up what could have been Owen's spot, hell, Bricker and Maria's spot, just for Sam to suck this whole season. His reason for departure is pretty dumb too. Half of his team are his friends, so why wouldn't he just ask not to go to Boney Island again? The ending of this episode ruined what could have been an otherwise decent climax. It would have also resulted in having a better chance of a TDI player getting canned over a Revenge of the Island one 3 times in a row. There's more Mal appearances in this episode. This time he breaks Sierra's phone and messes with the challenge. What's the reason? Again, I don't know, and neither does he, honestly. There's more of Sierra obsessing over Cody, a character who should have honestly just been in the season. Fan favorites can be considered all-stars too, like that actually would have been interesting to see. There's even plot reusage with Courtney trying to throw the challenge to get Gwen booted only for Heather to have her fingers crossed. Also, this is a nitpicky thing, but this line from Chris kind of bugs me.
The villains are 2/3 done, but it looks like the heroes need to up their appetite. Big time.
I felt like he should have thrown in a so in there instead of a but. Like, it makes more sense to me, but I could just be a stickler for grammar. The only redeeming part of this episode was seeing Scott and Courtney go back and forth. I can totally buy that Scott would dig Courtney's attitude the same way that Duncan did in action, and seeing their little hug at the end was a bit adorable. Otherwise, it's a middling episode that was blemished with a cop-out of an ending. 5 out of 10. This episode sucks, the challenge sucks, Mal sucks, the Gwunkin drama sucks. I just hate everything, bro. It's just Okay, let's calm down, because we got some analyzing to do. Up to this point, the season's been alright. Other than some of my favorites getting booted early and the whole Mal startup, All Stars has been tolerable, enjoyable even at certain times. But Moon Madness is somewhat of the beginning of the end for this season. There's so many negatives here. The challenge is boring and uninspired. It's basically just a race from one end of the island to the other. They throw the moon gimmick in there to spice things up, but ultimately it's uneventful. They say it's a callback to the treasure hunting challenge from Revenge of the Island, but they're not even hunting for anything. It's just a foot race, and it's not the last one that'll happen this season either. Sierra's getting really played out too. She manages to keep her team alive by the skin of her teeth, but the Cody and Cameron stuff is unbearable to watch. And unbearable for Cameron to handle too, apparently, since he volunteers to get kicked off the show. Crazy how he'd rather get pissed on by a bear than be next to Sierra, but hey, it's his life. The Gwunkin train dies in this episode as well. If I drone on about how dry and corporate their relationship has been up to this point, we'd be here all night. But come on, Duncan, Courtney kicked you in the balls, shoved you into a cake. She literally said so what to your entire existence. Why do you still care about her? Gwen's literally over here crying about the fact that Courtney hates her, trying to bond with her over making fun of Heather, just like in World Tour. Do y'all just want to make World Tour again? Like, damn, I know it was a good season, but come on, man. The fact that Gwen wanted you at all, considering how you interacted with Courtney, astounds me. But the way that he's been sidestepping their relationship to try and stick it to Courtney is so pathetic to me, especially when all of action was him trying to hype up his bad boy persona. And speaking of bad boy, Mal. 2 things. 1. What is he here for? Not like a why is he in the show, there will never be an answer for that. But what is his purpose here? He's supposed to be a villain, but in what sense? Usually the term villain is given to characters who will do whatever it takes to get the million. But so far, all he's done is break people's personal items, and rather dumbly I might add, try to take out Zoe with half his team behind him. I'd say, are Sierra and Cameron blind? But one of them actually is, and the other one doesn't know what the hell's going on unless it's Cody related, so. She totally would have been gone, by the way, if Chris didn't pull that dumb twist team swap at the end. Considering a majority of the team is pretty much the unofficial alliance from last season, if Cam would have said a thing about Sierra, she would have been canned. You see why these teams suck now? The crazy part is, with the way that Sierra plays for the rest of the season, this wouldn't have been a bad episode to get her out on. The only positives in Mood Madness are some of Scott's lines, I love his bridge clearing method, and Heather trying to be nice to dupe Alejandro is pretty entertaining too. And ironically, if Heather of all people is being nice to you, you might actually be in danger. But so far, the worst episode we've come across so far, 2 out of 10. 6 episodes deep and we're starting to lose steam. We're gonna need to shake things up viciously if we want to keep our audience's attention. I see. Then how about... I cannot believe that after making an appearance on this cutthroat show for 5 seasons straight, Heather made a rookie mistake just as the one she did. And in an all-star season, no less. After bragging about having 3 seasons of experience, she leaves her idol behind even after seeing Alejandro immediately afterwards. Terrible elimination and plot aside, this episode has a multitude of problems buried under a pretty solid challenge. We get a mutant animal egg hunt held in the fun zone on Boney Island. Chris references the mutants from season 4, but this challenge also feels pretty based in the Rapafui Easter egg challenge from World Tour as well. The egg hunting part of the episode is fine for the most part, not super action packed, but Scott and Courtney get some nice moments alone together, and Zoe and Mike's little interactions before the end game event are nice, I guess. Although they're trying to go the SpongeBob route when it comes to mental therapy.
So if getting hit in the head made you lose contact with your other personalities, would another hit in the head bring them back?
Hang on a second. Let me just...
But then again, there's the aforementioned idiotic move from Heather. There's Sierra, who just needs to leave at this point. All she does is scream, whine, and cry, and she's not even a powerhouse like how she used to be. The jokes about Duncan's manhood are pretty mixed. Sometimes it leads to a funny joke, but sometimes it feels hella dragged out. I will say, the escalation from bad boy to strawberry shortcake for Duncan did seem a lot more gradual than I made it out to be in my original review. It was already pretty passive in a team full of villains, but being circled around new friendly faces melted down his rough exterior. Plus, we already knew from Island and Action that Duncan had his more vulnerable moments. They're just hamming it up here a bit more than normal. Last thing I wanted to point out was that Alejandro lied about not being able to walk, which didn't really amount to anything in the grander scheme of things. Kinda wish he didn't reveal it back in episode 2, that way it would have been a surprise to the audience and not just the characters in the universe. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do like the crab joke from Evil Dread, but I feel like the build-up would have been a lot more, impactful if we also knew that he was lying. My headcanon is that he just wanted to stun on Heather after losing to her way back in Greece. Also, random note, but did you guys know that freaky scene with Larry and Chris's baby wasn't in the script? According to Terry McGurran, it wasn't written down, surely because it would have been flagged for being inappropriate. Ironically enough, he said this in a thread where the original post was a drawing of Chris McClane with Chef Hatchett's babe. I'm sorry, that was a bit too far. Overall, a decent challenge, but a pretty meh everything else. 3.5 out of 10. Actually, we're going to be adding a new scoring caveat to this video. Because of Mike's little brain-dead attempt to rid himself of his devious alternate personality by smashing himself in the head with a boulder, I'm not even going to try to dissect that basket case of an idea, Mal is now on the loose for the rest of the season. So, to express how much I hate his character without it being too repetitive, I'll be docking 2 points from every episode that he's in from now on. I'll be nice to only give this episode -1 point since he was only here for half the screen time as Mike. With our new rule in mind, excellent opposition is getting a nice round 2.5 out of 10. Hooray! Getting a little more than halfway done with the season, we get the first episode that features Mal entirely. Yay! Was Mike such a boring character with his NPD in Revenge that the writers thought that this would be a better alternative? I only say this to say, every scene of Mal makes me wish that I could have just seen the Mike at the end of Revenge of the Island get to perform, without this fanfic insert getting in the way. Anyway, suckers punched. Honestly, we can break our bad episode streak because this one was kind of fun. The challenge is a classic. It's half no pain, no gain, and half phobia factor. 2 challenges that were pretty fun season 1 editions. And we also get a nice variety of references to past seasons. We get Alejandro fighting his brother Jose that he talked about back in World Tour. Scott gets to tussle with Fang like old times. We even get a Spider Izzy cameo, though it's a bit wasted because she gets power scaled by Mal out of nowhere. Like, is Zoe not going to question why her boyfriend just tossed Izzy out of the ring, spider costume or not? We even get the Coliseum from last season's finale as this challenge setting. And I like to think that even though Duncan's challenge was the bird, his phobia was really the Courtney square on the wheel. It would have been nice to see them fight considering how much the two fought in action.
Shark! Ooh, the big bad diaper shark.
Speaking of Courtney fighting, her and Gwen finally hash things out the old-fashioned way and end their beef. I'm not a fan of Gwen sucking up to Courtney, it's a bit too sappy, and my hindsight is 20/20 on what Courtney really thinks about Gwen. But it's better than them arguing, so I can't be too mad. This episode's elimination could have been a crazy turning point in the season though. The winners of the challenge got to choose who the losers were. And for some reason they end up choosing Sierra of all people, someone who up to this point in our review has done nothing. Her team lost the first challenge. She spent all her time digging in one hole in Evil Dread, so she didn't find any pieces. In the Leech Ball challenge, she friendly fired herself. Food fight, she ate a little bit and then immediately got benched for throwing up. even though she ate all that wildness in Warsaw and had no problems. They lost the Moon Challenge. She got 1 egg last episode, though it didn't really matter since Zoe and Mike bring back like 20. And in Sucker's Punch, she loses again. Wouldn't it have been wiser to vote off literally anyone else? Most, if not all of the team could have been convinced to cut Duncan. Scott because he likes Courtney, Alejandro because he knows Duncan's a threat and an endgame player, and Gwen and Courtney for obvious reasons. But this could have easily been a crazy elimination if they managed to pick Zoe instead. Cameron obviously wouldn't, and Gwen might be neutral as well, but Courtney, Scott, and Alejandro would have been able to pick up on how Zoe's basically the strongest member on her team. Hell, Scott's elimination in Revenge was damn near because of Zoe. Pretty much every challenge the heroic hamsters have won, Zoe was usually the one to get her team the win. Hell, this challenge she didn't even need to fight anyone. Obvious target for elimination. You're telling me just because Cameron and maybe Courtney found Sierra annoying that the whole team would vote for her? Objection, Your Honor, I call BS. Another thing this episode brings to my attention that could have been a nice addition, the return of Boney Island. Alejandro already found the idol, but there's not another one this season, yet there's still exiles for Boney Island, pretty much for no reason. Wouldn't it have been cooler if this Survivor parody show had more Survivor-like advantages? Anytime the contestants are by themselves, that's an opportunity to introduce new tools to make the game interesting. This is season 5, people, spice things up just a tad. But overall, this episode wasn't terrible. Cameron boosted this one up by being hella funny.
This is the last will of I, Cameron Corduroy Wilkins.
6.5 that's getting docked 2 full points because of Mao. Sorry, 4.5 out of 10, y'all. You were gotta be kidding me with this episode, dude. No, thank you. No. Clap it up for y'all. Clap it up for y'all. Y'all are the true dogs, man. First off, I'm just gonna say it. Bad challenge. Midi pack. Smoking that mid challenge pack right now. It's literally just a boat race around the island. Where's the callback? The closest thing I can compare this to is Off the Chain maybe, but instead of making bikes, they ride it's a stretch, I know, but at least I'm trying. And another thing, the mouse stuff sucks. In this episode, Zoe playing dumb after getting 4 different accounts of Mike being sketchy, one of them being right in her own face. Mal's asking us, how gullible is this girl? Dog, I wish I knew the answer too. See, if Mal was actually trying to make plays with Alejandro, it'd be different. For instance, him trying to side with Alejandro. Maybe it'd be an interesting story if he was actually trying to be a villainous total drama player. But no, he's just determined to break shit like a child and be like manufactured evil. Like, the shit is so lame, dog. Despite my criticisms though, this is a damn funny episode. Between watching Duncan nicely and carefully fall from grace as a bad boy, every scene with Cameron on the raft, every line from Courtney after Duncan blows up Chris's cottage.
You called that a cottage? It was a mansion!
We'll build you another cottage.
It was not a cottage!
Destruction of a private cottage.
It was not a...
There's so many funny moments in this episode that I can't help but enjoy it. Well, enjoy all the non-Mao parts of it anyway. You know it's still getting docked 2 points, haha. And again, that challenge, man, like, it's supposed to be callbacks and they don't even try. It's literally just a boat race. The comedy lets this one slide at a 4 out of 10. I remember disliking this episode way back when, but honestly, this one was a sleeper. It actually involves some sort of wild scheming that Total Drama is known for, and we finally get to see someone stick it to Mao. After winning the last challenge, Alejandro finds a security room in the spa hotel, once again reusing points from previous seasons, but we'll let it slide because the season has been hella dry up to this point.
How interesting. Time to pay back that favor.
He figures out who Mal is, saves up all his chaos on a DVD as an insurance policy of sorts, and uses the cameras to stop Mal from sabotaging him. Boy, when Cameron pulls out the votes from behind Mal's pillow, my smile could have illuminated the room like a flashbang. There's a lot of funny moments here too, like Scott and Courtney's romance accidentally blooming and dying within the same 10-minute stretch. Now that there's not as many characters, pretty much any line out of Scott is comedy gold.
I'm your girlfriend!
Cameron's pretty entertaining too. I don't like how the trio from Revenge pretty much recycles the same plots from Revenge, but Cam as his own is a very funny character. Sucks to see him go this episode, but honestly I feel like he made it far enough since he was a finalist last season. Glad he had some time to shine without Sierra breathing down his back. Even the interns get a funny moment with the chef, another character who hasn't had too much screen time this season.
Untitled Drama.
Fix the monitor! Getting to the challenge of this episode, it's not much. Apparently this was the 100th episode and I don't feel like doing the work to fact check that, just believe me. And he gets sidetracked by Ezekiel. So the cast have to pile together and save Chris before he gets dropped in acid. It was a bit refreshing to see Chris in a sliver of the danger he puts the teens in, but otherwise it's not too much of a crazy challenge. It basically just boils down to everyone splitting into their own groups and just trying to navigate the caves. Watching Zeke do FNAF level jump scares was hella funny though. Honestly, at this point in the series, the main part of the plot that makes me not want to rewatch these episodes is just Mal. He's such an insufferable character who thinks he's so smart when really he's the dumbest character in total drama history. Or top 5 at least, there's some stiff competition. Like when Mal gets caught with the Cameron votes, he just sits there looking dumbfounded. Or when he accidentally reveals to Alejandro that he left Cameron to die. For no reason, mind you. When Mal tells Cam that he let him fall, it's supposed to be like a haha gotcha moment, but that's not even why Cam got eliminated. Way to take credit for nothing. Before I get too spaced out on Mal, Zeke and You Shall Find? Not bad. One of the more funny episodes towards the latter half of the season. This one gets a 4.5 after the Mal tax. After a string of okay episodes, the Obstacle Course is the episode that starts to lose me as a hardcore total drama fan. While there are some positives here, Scott and Courtney continue to be an unlikely comedic couple. Seeing Scott love all the brashness that Duncan couldn't handle is hella funny, and it makes total sense for the character. Zoe's not terrible this episode either. It was nice seeing her console with Courtney and be friends with Gwen. Side note, but it's such a Courtneyism to snitch on yourself because you couldn't trust your own allies to keep a secret.
You kissed Cameron?
I feel like Zoe this season gets a lot of hate because of the Mal stuff, but if there's a scene where she's interacting with literally anybody else, she's very pleasant to be around. Even the challenge is okay. They make a nod to the Army course from season 1, and all the obstacles here are pretty creative. Though I wouldn't have minded seeing the Master of Disasters course from Action return as well. But even with all these small little nice things, the Mal tax continues to be a blemish on this otherwise alright season. In this episode, we have to say an unfortunate goodbye to Alejandro, who up to this point was one of the only characters worth rooting for who wasn't super derailed. Watching the Spanish tank who dominated World Tour get one-upped by Mal of all people again and again was so irritating, especially seeing as this episode could have been interesting had we seen Alejandro win. I'm not against everyone trying to gang up on Al. Hell, after winning the Regatta Challenge and getting saved last episode by medical elimination, he's the biggest physical threat left by far. But when Mal sabotages him and helps Zoe win the challenge, all the suspense in the episode is gone. Speaking of Mal and Zoe, anytime the two are on screen, just consider me mentally checked out from the episode. I get the two didn't spend a whole lot of time together, both on screen and off, but no way that Zoe believes that all the wildly out of character cruelty and physical altercations with other players is something that Mike would be capable of and be enjoying. His wildest alter ego from last season's worst trait was being a player. This episode, he's chucking tires at Al, beating him against the bars, crushing his wrists. But look at bro's body mass compared to Al. How is this even possible? And Zoe, dude.
Hello all, and welcome back to another episode of Is Zoe Clinically Insane? The game show where we watch back Zoe's clips and determine if she's alright in the head. Roll the clip.
What are you guys doing?
Oh, Alejandro tripped and I was just helping him up.
Okay. Reasonably doubt on this one. I'm not convinced just yet, folks. Keep rolling.
I thought Mike couldn't access his other personalities anymore. At least he didn't turn into that Mal character.
Is she playing in our face? That is her man, so maybe she's just a little lost in the sauce.
See you in the toilet, Mal.
Did he just say Mal?
Oh no, he said pal. Handsome jerk.
Oh no, this girl is actually insane. Well, you've heard it here, folks. I think we could label Zoe as clinically insane.
Hold it!
Hold up. It seems like the court would like to play a clip in Zoe's favor. Let's throw it on the big screen.
Alejandro didn't say pal. Did Mike do that for me? Or for Mal? I need to keep a closer eye on him.
You know what? She's not totally zoned out. She might actually know the truth. We might have to leave this one up to the audience.
So, Zoe, who you bringing?
Mike! He's the only reason I won.
Aw, really? You're the best.
Bombaglat! Is this all stupid or what?
Let's just move on before I blow another fuse. This episode was an easy 4.5 before the tax. Sucks that some nice character interactions and a decent challenge couldn't save this one. Hit it with the Mal tax and let's move on to the big one, ladies and gents. Sunday, Muddy Sunday. What a tragedy. Honestly, what could be said about this infamously hated episode? Various YouTube videos criticizing its many flaws, low ratings from critics and fans across the board. At this point, giving it a formal review would be pointless. I could do a CinemaSin style rant with how many problems this episode has. Wait, it's not a bad idea, actually.
Tag me in too, bro.
Welcome back, Gwen.
Welcome back, Gwen.
This is one of the worst episode starts of all time. Holy shit.
happened? Hey, Zoe! I was just helping to water the plants, and I dropped one. Against the wall.
Mal is so stupid, dog.
Especially with Mike on the loose in my head. His head, our head, whatever.
Bro, even Mao the character doesn't know what the hell the plot is anymore, bro. Why is Courtney flip-flopping so hard? She was just consoling with Zoe and she said not even 2 episodes ago that she wanted Gwen to win. Now she's tripping. And now she's not even engaging with Scott anymore. Like, what happened? Was she just not into him? I guess she ditched him after he got mad at her for kissing Cam, but
what a confusing and outlandish reason for the two to stop talking to each other.
Ooh, we're not even dating, but you kissing and your girl. Shut up. Shut up.
This is the farthest I've ever made it on Total Drama.
Wrong. The chart came from where? From where? Where? Where?
And Chris being hella abusive to his interns for no reason, because Revenge of the Island wasn't proof enough that he should have stayed in jail longer.
Not much of a connection to previous challenges, but I guess there's some previous locations, so at this point, I'm too jaded to even care.
I totally forgot to feed them this week.
You're falling for this, Zoe. She still literally thinks this is Mike.
The dialogue in this episode, my god.
See you later in the giant toilet. And you'll be the one in the toilet, not me.
Let's rock.
Let's rock. Oh my, bro, you, oh, don't even get me started. Let's rock, bro. Oh my, yo, get this out of here, bro. Not in a million years. Get this out of here.
Zoe's so dumb, it's unbearable, bro.
Maybe Courtney is the greater evil Alejandro was talking about.
Courtney's so out of character, it's insane. Like, she was a bit annoying in other seasons, but lines like this?
What? It's for Chris's interns, and he never feeds them anyway, as if they're going to be picky. They should thank me. Ta-da! Shortcut!
Shortcut? What do you mean shortcut? Y'all are running right next to each other.
I can't do it. I can't eat disgusting foods. I'm just not gross like the others.
Did y'all forget Courtney's eating way nastier stuff? The same way she didn't kiss Alejandro? God, I hate this episode, dude. Get this off my screen.
I'm not even gonna do the final score thing at the end. Just give this episode a 0. Slap on the Mao tax even though it's 0 and keep it pushing. Can the season just end, bro? Like, this is just so bad.
What is going on? This show is like, what happened? The fall off has to be studied.
After that train wreck of an episode, we get our penultimate challenge with the bold and the beautiful. Not even gonna lie, we're just gonna give this one the score and keep it pushing. Before the Mao tax, this thing is like a 0.2 out of 10. By far the most uninteresting final 4. Scott is so easy to manipulate, Zoe's as brain dead as ever, Mal is Mal, and Gwen is just here. After she has that run-in with Mal while trying to win a challenge, I forgot that Gwen has pretty much never even interacted with the guy. Speaking of challenge, this one is so boring. It's a treasure hunt, but it doesn't reference any of the previous episodes that have done so already, like Search and Do Not Destroy, or the Treasure Island of Dr. McClane. I guess they rectified it by having previously seen locations and items like the McClane statuettes from Action, or the entire pirate ship set from Action, which I'm pretty sure shouldn't even be here. I stopped watching this episode to check to see if mutiny on the soundstage was connected to the island, and I ended up watching most of that episode instead, which should tell you how tired I am of watching this season. Zoe wins the challenge for the 3rd time in a row. Crazy how she went from being a background player to an absolute unstoppable powerhouse. Gwen gets eliminated because of Fufu-ass Chris fudging the rules to keep Mal in the game. Unironically, Gwen's version of Chris's art was honestly kind of better in my opinion. Not much to say here, you already got the score, let's just get the season done and over with already. The final episode, the last crusade to get your audience back after a season of mediocrity. How did it go?
She knows I'm not Mike, but still brought me to the finale.
This entire episode.
The animation's been so lazy near the end of the season, but dude, there's a PNG, a JPEG for a good 15 seconds. Shout out One Punch Man Season 3.
Mike's been Mal longer than I thought.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
That is the most disgusting thing that has ever happened in there.
The most disgusting thing to happen in the outhouse? I beg to differ.
My family needs the money. Anxiety gas. Hey, what's your name? Hockey equipment. Wow. They're right to be disgusted. I haven't showered in days. Plus they make you fart. It's so intimate. Come on, Cohen. Don't fail me now. Oh, Emma, get away. Try now. Is this her gum? Allow me to demonstrate my mad magic skills by producing the ace of spades.
Yes! Nothing can stop us! Stop us! Stop us!
So where's the camera? Why we couldn't have all the characters in this last episode, I'll never know.
This season was already a train wreck, but the fact we get characters who already have plenty of screen time this season makes it all the more boring.
They really shafted all the Revenge of the Islands characters who weren't the Wonder Trio.
How did Zoe shoot through the balloon, but not the bubble? Physics?
Mike is gone, and he's never coming back.
I can almost taste it.
I really could not care whether Zoe or Mike win. This is the issue with having a story-based season. If Zoe wins or if Mike wins, they both win. We know that Mao's not gonna win. Come on.
Keep your garbage on your side.
Why does Mao keep trying to be fake edgy? Who thought that was a good writing idea? Oh my gosh. Bro, it's like he's trying to be a fake Cardi and it's pissing me off. No way Cameron trusts that bubble and Zoe more than his own life. He should be dead as shit. Dead noise. That's what he should be worried about.
And speaking of dead, I feel like this challenge was the ultimate. Chris does not give a about these kids' safety anymore.
How do we get across?
I'm not here to help you. You're here to help me.
Yeah, no shit.
This challenge totally gave up on trying to be a homage to the other seasons. It's climb up a 4-layered mountain. It couldn't be any more derivative.
Bye-bye.
You know, if he's so evil, he could have just thrown her into the waste. Don't pick and choose when to be evil, pal. You're telling me this whole time, multiple personality disorder could have been cured with a reset button? Why hasn't Mal done this before? Okay, Foxy, let's relax with these jump scares.
Mike's a necromancer now?
Don't do this. No one will ever cross you with me in charge. I'm a part of you. Yep, a part of me that I don't need anymore.
Ironically enough, despite Mao taking over the whole season, they never explained how he ended up in juvie to start with. That would have made for an interesting story. I'm glad they sidestep all the action in this episode so that boring ass, now totally plain NPD list Mike could win.
If I cared about this storyline, which I don't, it would have been better for this conflict to end in the episode prior and have someone else be in the finals.
I did it!
Most anticlimactic finale win ever.
I'm going to assume that Heather and Alejandro die because everyone else did. And honestly, if they did, shout out to them. They're all going to be looking up at us. Shout out to them.
We should do this again sometime.
Do what, Mike? You weren't here the whole season.
Glad Owen got to have some fun considering they scrapped him for Sam. Yo, bro, no more Total Drama Island, bro. I hate this show. I hate it. Get me out.
Yeah, so this episode sucks badly. 0 out of 10. Maltax. Oh god, this episode is over. Oh, and the season 2, yes. In conclusion, yeah, not even sure what I expected, man. Rounding up the scores of the season, we get a resounding 2.5 out of 10, which, yeah, I can't really argue with. Genuinely, I wanted to give this season a fair shot, and trust me, as hard as it was for me to look for positives, I tried to give credit where credit was due. There were some funny moments, even in the more lackluster episodes, but man, did Mal and awful writing really kill the second half of this season. This is widely regarded as the most rewritten season of Total Drama, and for good reason. There were some terrible writing choices this season, and hopefully you guys agree with some of my revisions, but ultimately the addition of Mal is really what killed the season. His character has no motivations past just wanting to be evil, and it bleeds into all the other plot lines trying to happen at the same time. If you would get rid of Mal, I'm pretty sure you could drive the average of the season back up to like a 4 or 5 at least. Like whatever they were thinking that wasn't Mal related couldn't have been worse than what they actually executed. The biggest factor that makes this season a failure to me isn't just Mal or the low score though. It's the wasted opportunity for character growth. Our beloved classic characters that we grew to love returned, but instead of seeing them conquer past flaws or achieve meaningful closure, they were sidelined, reduced to being plot devices, or just removed altogether. Sierra and Zoe, total drama superfans with muscle to boot, reduced to Cody/Cameron lover and being the oblivious girlfriend of a psycho. Duncan and Alejandro, reduced from strategic villains to pitiful sticks in the way of Mal's empire. The most meaningful part of total drama has always been the relationships and the development of its cast, and this season actively sabotaged both foundations. The season didn't fail because of lack of trying, it failed because it mistook a shallow villain twist for a compelling story. It showed us that when writers choose plot over comedy and realism, we get left with, well, a season like Total Drama All-Stars. The legacy of the season won't be in its winner, unfortunately, but in the disappointment of what could have been a legendary finale for a classic franchise. And with pretty mixed reviews on TDI 2023 and 24, it's looking like the beginning of the end yet again. That's enough out of me though. Hopefully you guys liked and enjoy. Again, subscribe, like the video if you liked it. It really helps. Comment down below what you guys thought about this season and what you think about this video. Hopefully I did my original video justice by trying to have a more positive look on it. Don't mind the ending. The last 4 episodes are easily some of the worst in the entire series, but we're trying to be on a more positive notes. Like I said, hope you guys enjoy. Let me know what you guys want to see in the future, and yeah, that's it. Take them to the outro. Okay, one last thing, post-credit scene, because so many people were asking why Beth was in the thumbnail for the video the first time I made it. Somebody said it, but I couldn't find a comment for that. The reason why she's in the thumbnail is because she's not in the season. That's why I put her crying in the thumbnail. I thought that would be funny. Just wanted to point that out. And now this is the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day.